But first of all, I want to, for the three young men, I'd like, if we would, please, before I'm going to talk a little bit, I was given 15 minutes, so I'll use 14 minutes and 59 seconds. I have some things that I want to bring up about these three young men that I think are special. But if we would first, the family and the friends that helped make this happen, if we could just give everybody a hand, please. So this is new for me because I've done a lot of presentations, especially in the last 9 months. But Eagle Scout ceremony, this is big. This is bigger than just last month. I just spoke at West Point at the Air Force Academy. So I did some research, and obviously when you Google Eagle Scout, what do you see? Generals, presidents, astronauts, doctors, all these people, right? So I don't really have anything in common with any of these people. So let me go back to my high school. So I went back to Sacramento, that's where I went to high school at. And when I grew up as a youngster, we had 4 Air Force bases pretty close by. We had Mayfield Air Force Base, McClellan, I lived across the street from, Travis Air Force Base, and Beale. So in the early 80s, a lot of military and a lot of scouts. So I figured, okay, surely, and how many of you, the 3 of you that are, you're going to leave soon from high school, you know that person in high school that knows everything that's going on, right? It's happening. And I grew up before social media. But now that we have social media, we have that person, I'm sure every high school has it, that knows everything about everybody. I don't know how they have time to do that, but I contacted my buddy and said, hey, by the way, I'm giving a presentation, Eagle Scout ceremony. Do we have any Eagle Scouts in our graduating class? Because we had a big high school graduating class. Let me do some research and find out. So I was like, okay, let me think of the 5 people I would think that would probably be successful. And so I named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And sure enough, he gets back to me and says, there's 2. And I was like, 2? There's got to be more than 2. We had like everybody in high school was in scouting in elementary school, junior high, and high. Kind of the pyramid effect. People start falling off as it gets harder and harder. But 2. So the 2, one's a doctor, and he teaches at Northwestern University, and the other one just retired 30 years as a colonel, as an infantry officer. Those are the 2. And that is kind of the same thing that I found as I started doing research, but more so as I've been talking really around the world and all across the United States. So, for these 3 young men who are standing on what I call a dot, okay? So you all are standing on a dot right now, and a dot that is really special. Because most of us that are your age, when we were your age, our dot was high school graduation. Or, for me, it wasn't even high school graduation. I had to go to summer school, and I did it afterwards. So, whatever the dot is. But you have this dot that is really, really glowing and glaring. So you can just Google it, and you can find that out. But things have changed, and they've changed for your parents, they've changed for me, because we're all kind of in the same era. So when I look at this, and all of you, young men, you all grew up with this. This is not a big deal to you. But for us, me anyway, when I was a young high school kid, there was a lot going on in Silicon Valley. I grew up in Sacramento, so down in Santa Clara, San Jose, Palo Alto, there was all this stuff going on about Apple and internet and all this crazy stuff. But when I think about this today, I think about the dot. And I think about Steve Jobs' presentation at Stanford University. He gave a presentation at Stanford right before he passed away. And, when you're getting ready to go and your time is about ready to end, now's the time to go ahead and give whatever wisdom you have. So his one big thing was, and for those that have seen it, it's called connect the dots. So in order to be successful in life, you have to be able to trust and connect the dots as they go forward. You're standing on a big dot. A dot that you can use the rest of your life. Because when I go to Wikipedia and I look up President Ford, when I look up anybody that received Eagle Scout, you go pretty closely down the top of the Wikipedia, there's Eagle Scout. So you get to use that for the rest of your life. Or you can be Bill Gates, who's still upset that he only made it to life, even though he did all these other things, he's still, he's like, when you read his book, he's like, I wish I had made Eagle Scout. Really? All the things you've done in life and you're still upset about that? So he's still thinking about that. So connecting the dots today is different than it was for us, right? So connecting the dots for me and for your parents, it was a linear vertical world. So when you went to high school, you went to college, you got a job, you just went, things kind of went that way, right? Then all of a sudden, Facebook came and all these social media and everything came, and all of a sudden we have this. The world has changed. So if I was to put on a screen and the yellow screen came on here, I guarantee you the 3 Eagle Scouts here, they would know exactly what that is. I was on a train today and I saw 8 French girls and they were all popping that yellow screen, right? And for those of you who don't know what the yellow screen is, I'll talk about it in a minute. But the world is no longer vertical. It is asymmetrical. It's 360 degrees. There are so many options and everybody looks the same. So what do you got to do to make yourself different? You got to find a way to make yourself different when you go from dot to dot to dot, and as you continue to go success. So you've already started off with a big dot. So this world that we're in now, who would have thought? I know that I have colleagues that don't understand that somebody could be sitting as a freshman at Stanford University and go, there's got to be a way better that people can talk to each other than Facebook, Google Chats. How about this thing called Snapchat? Oh, that's kind of cool. So they come up with this little app, they do it, and we still have people today, older people, right, for you young Eagle Scouts, older people are like, oh, those are just teenagers sending selfies. Well, you're about 3 years behind, because that app is now worth about $4 billion for the people that designed it, and it's now used in every Fortune 500 company. And that is the world that we're in now, that somebody could sit at UCLA, and I see the 3 Eagle Scouts are nodding down, yeah. You sit at UCLA and you go, there's got to be a better way than trying to grab a taxi, right? So somebody sits and does an app, Calvin does an app at UCLA and says he comes up with Uber, which by the way, was just a few years ago designed. It's now worth $7 billion. So it is a different world, and there are many, many other choices. So how do we distinguish? I guess what I want to do is I want to let you know that this is not normal. Because a lot of times in the military, we have UCOM headquarters right here. We have an A-type personality with all these officers and a lot of our parents. And I'm the same with my kids. I have a child just graduated ROTC at University of Washington. She's a SAPR platoon leader at Fort Carson. But the rest of the world is not like that. And so this is not normal. This is abnormal, what we're seeing with these 3 young men. So I have a couple little things that I picked up amongst my travels. So I want to talk about these 2. And need water. After effects of massive amounts of radiation. Okay, so this just looks like a marshmallow, right? Okay, there was a study done 20 years ago, and the study was done on 3-year-old kids. So these real evil scientists in 20 countries, took 3-year-old kids and did a study. And so what they did was, they put the kids in a room and said, I'm going to leave for 15 minutes, and if you eat that marshmallow, you don't get another marshmallow. But if you don't eat that marshmallow, I'll give you 2 more. You get 3 marshmallows. So they left the room for 15 minutes. They come back. And some of the kids ate the marshmallow, right? Just couldn't handle it, just did it. 3 years old, some waited. What they did is they went 15 years forward and they looked up all these kids. Almost 90% of the time, the kids that were able to wait for the 2 extra marshmallows were more successful, higher SAT scores, happier, better universities, better colleges, better lives, and it's continued to go that way. So where am I getting at? It is that the difference between somebody that can hold one idea in their hand, one vertical idea, or somebody that can hold an asymmetrical 2 ideas or more. And for the Eagle Scouts, they've been able to hold more than that to do what you've done. And the 2 ideas is it right or is it wrong? But you can hold both. So as we go forward in this world that you're in, you'll be able to do that. And you'll be able to handle that situation where other people can't. So that's your advantage. So what do you do to make yourself different, though, in a world where everybody looks alike? And you've already done that. As I said, if I looked at high school juniors and seniors and I said, what is the number? And I ran the numbers, by the way. So the numbers for Eagle Scouts, and there's been 2 million